Hey everyone, welcome to the fourth episode of the Let's Be Real podcast. I'm Gavin, this is Davy, and in this episode we're going to be talking about how important is networking. But before we start, make sure to follow us on our socials at Let's Be Real Podcast. We have our links in the bio, so make sure to go check those out. So we're just going to hop right into the discussion topic, why is networking important, and what are we doing at networking? So I'll kind of just let you go first on like why you do networking, and why is it important?
So for me, networking is super important just in general, not even just in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
To me, networking is having different contacts that you can use for different things, and having those contacts be willing to do, whatever for you because you guys have built a relationship.
Yeah.
And so, in real estate or as a realtor, I have different contacts. Like I work with different contractors. I work with different, photographers, different inspectors, lenders, you name it.
Yeah.
It's just important to know them and to know a bunch of them and to have a relationship with them because when I'm working with my clients, you never know what kind of contact you would need.
Mm-hmm.
And so having that relationship with them and, being able to refer those people to my clients, it just adds like immense value to my business.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like networking is important. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just really important for that, having a network of people so that, if you rely on one photographer, even one lender, it's an interesting topic because we like to have our go-tos,
right?
But sometimes people are busy. A photographer might be busy. A lender might be busy. Typically, they can make time. But if they can't, you need to have a backup option. You need to have more options, and it needs to be somebody personally. Typically, you want it to be someone that is going to get the job done.
Right.
So that's something that I find really important with it. Is just like if I need something done really fast for a client,
right.
I don't want to be like, well, my guy's busy, so I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Anybody else,
yeah,
right.
So let me call around. I want to be able to have in my phone, have my contacts, who I'm gonna call, who's my backup. And I don't like calling people a backup, right? But you're gonna have your favorite. Everybody's gonna.
For sure.
And you're gonna have favorites for different things you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a mobile home, you might have a different lender than you're gonna choose for a regular home.
Exactly.
It's gonna be different.
Exactly. Having those different contacts for those different situations too.
Mm-hmm.
And that just brings me into this. Like when I first started real estate, I would have conversations with people, and it's like I didn't really realize what that conversation would bring. Like,
right.
What am I saying? I didn't realize how important meeting new people and just talking to people was.
Yeah,
because
I didn't either.
Yeah, because it's like you never know when you're going to need that person.
Exactly.
And so it's like being intentional about every conversation that you have, every point in contact that you have with someone. It's just super important to just be very intentional. And so because later down the road, you never know when you're going to need that person someday.
Exactly. You're going to, yeah.
Yeah. That's like, I don't know. Right now I'm starting to realize how important that really is because, for example, I spoke with a client some months ago.
Okay.
And I started some months ago.
Right.
And so they were looking for something, and at the time, like I could not find they were looking for like a whole bunch of land, and then they wanted it to be flat. But at the time, like their price range was like $400 to $500, and what they were looking for, like flat land, like at the time, like they weren't gonna find that, especially in the upstate.
Yeah.
And so
it's not available at the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but then later down the road, like I got a new listing, and when I got that listing, I just remembered like, hey, like this is exactly what those clients were looking for.
Yeah.
And so I was like, whoa, okay. So I hit them up, and then, they were interested in it. And then, later down the road, I was able to make something work with that.
Nice.
And so it's just, you never know. Every person that you meet, every client that you meet, even if it's somebody that isn't trying to buy a house, like your photographers or your contractors, like make sure you build a relationship with them. Make sure they know that you're a good person.
Right.
Because you never know what can come from it. Yeah,
and that's exactly right. Like, that's just something that, everybody that I talk to, even the people who I took my courses through, my real estate classes, I remember I was going through the process of getting signed up for my whole test, and there was a lady who was in the class with me, and I had a question on setting up, getting through that whole process.
Right.
And I remembered before I had left, she gave me her phone number just in case I needed anything. And I was going through it, and I didn't know what to do, and so I was like, you know what? I was like, let me just see if she's done it already.
Right.
And she had, and she was able to walk me through that. And that was somebody that I was taking a class with. Normally, you're kind of just like, yeah, these people are in the room with me, but I don't really need them. But I did, And I was really thankful that her and I had spoken throughout the class, and just got that worked out. But yeah, so, back to networking with it. I don't know. I think it's just really important to network different groups, different types of people. Cause I don't know, something that I've heard of people doing, and I did at one of my last networking events where,
right.
I don't know if you've done this, but you walk in and you look around and you're like, I don't really know too many people here, but you see some people you do know and you're like, I'm going to just go walk with them. I'm going to stand there. I'm going to grab my food. I'm going to stand next to them and chat it up. And then, 2 hours later, you look at your watch and you're like, I've been here long enough. Time to head home. And what did you do? You spent 2 hours talking to your friends, which is great.
Yeah.
But you went to a networking event and you didn't even network.
Exactly.
You looked across the room at all these people and you didn't talk to any of them. So something that, I try to make really important is I go in with a notebook or on my phone, and it's talk to 5 people, get 2 numbers. At minimum, right? Just talk to 5 different people. So something that our manager was telling me is he'll go into one and he'll find a group of people and he'll just say something random, to try to have a conversation with them, and then bring it up to their lives and try to bring up something in their life, and then he's in a conversation. He's inside of their conversation just by talking to them about something random, right?
Right.
And that's something that I try to do with mine now, where I'll go in and I'll see my group of friends and I'll say, hey, and I'm like, oh, let me go grab a bite to eat. Let me go grab some food. Go over there, and if there's a group of people in line, I'll be like, man, this food looks really good, or I'll be like, oh, I just had some of this, and they'll be like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, and I'll bring something up and I'll be like, do you like this kind of food? Stuff like that, and we'll start talking, and then try to bring in, I don't try to bring in, oh yeah, I'm a realtor, I don't try to do that, but I try to just bring up so what brought you here, why are you here,
right?
And then they'll answer, right? They came for the same reason I did, right?
Exactly.
So that's something that I just find really important about it,
No, for sure. I like that, a lot of times we do go to these networking events, and it's we're kind of hesitant to go talk to somebody new, but we really need to get out of that mindset of just being comfortable with, or being around who you're comfortable with, because that's honestly ultimately not how the world is supposed to be.
No.
We're supposed to be going out and introducing ourselves to different people, and I feel like the point of the world is to make a name for yourself and have as many people know you as possible. Especially in business.
Yeah, that's the main part, is you got to get yourself bigger than the other ones. And the only way to do that is by making your name more recognized. That's the only way to do it.
Exactly.
You have to market yourself. And even though networking technically isn't really marketing yourself, but those people are going to know you. And if they need somebody, the same reason that we're going to look at a lender or a photographer or an inspection team.
Right.
If they're busy, you're going to go to the next one. If you meet somebody at a networking event and they say, yeah, I really need an agent. Oh, I just talked to one last night.
Exactly.
So if they need somebody, they'll be like, oh, I just talked to them. They're a super cool guy.
Right.
Let me call him up, and it's just that's my goal for it, is to, I don't need to be. I would like to be somebody's main. I'd like to be somebody's go-to, but being a backup's fine. Because guess what? You're still right there, and you're not going to get there without networking. Gotcha. You're not. So
you mentioned that you wanted to speak to 5 people and get 2 numbers.
Yeah.
How often is this? Only at networking events, or like how often are you trying to meet new people? For networking.
Yeah, I try to meet new people every day. When we go to lunch and stuff, I'll try to talk to somebody, whether it be like the waiter or somebody in the lobby. Just try to have a conversation with them, because we spend a lot of time downtown. We spend a lot of time here. If they spend, if they see me one time, that's fine. I still talk to somebody. I worked on talking to somebody. I had a conversation, right, which is good for me. That's growth. But if it's someone who's frequently here, say they like to go to the same restaurant that I do, if we talk, the next time they might not recognize me, but if I talk to them again, they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember talking to this guy, and they'll be like, so like, why are you here so often? Like, do you do business around here? I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm actually a realtor just down the road, our office is here. If you need anybody who's a realtor, I'm right there. Just come down to the office, stuff like that.
For sure.
How often do you try to do that outside of networking events, or are you kind of more focused on it at an event?
I try to do it outside of networking events as much as I can.
Yeah.
Honestly, I need to start going to more networking events so that, I'll be in an atmosphere where that's what we're here for, exactly. To network.
Yeah.
However, in our team, they encourage us, like our managers encourage us to build what you call a top 50.
Right.
So for those of you guys that don't know what a top 50 is, your top 50 is just a list of people that you're working with.
Yeah.
And that, you will support their business and they will support your business. Mm-hmm. So I'm currently trying to build my top 50, and, and really I'm trying to build a top 100.
Right.
I'm trying to build a top 1,000. So, because, the more people that you have to refer, that you have people referring clients to you, the better your business will become.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Kelly, shout out to Kelly.
Right. Shout out.
Kelly put it, he put it this way. And I don't know, I never thought of it this way, but having 20 closings as a realtor, that's a good amount of closings.
That's
huge. For the year.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So if you have, let's say you have 50 people, right? And only 50% of them are referring people to you. That's 25 people from your top 50.
Yeah.
Right? And that's 25 closings just from them. And that's not, that doesn't have anything to do with your own prospecting, like you making calls, these videos that we're making, and just the different ways, like Zillow, the different ways that, we have to get clients. That's just from your top 50. So, and if you have more people, like if you have 100 people and then only, 50% of them give you leads, you have 50 closings just from those 50 people. So I don't know. I'm trying to be more intentional, and I'm trying to, as I go through my day to day, just being very friendly to people and trying to understand that every conversation that I have could lead to them referring me.
Yeah.
And that's not the only reason I'm trying to,
We're not trying to snake people and just make a business.
Right. It's like,
it's keeping in the frame of mind while you're doing it.
Exactly.
I love having these connections with people. Just how you and I met. I remember, because I went to a meeting last year, and there was only 8-10 people in the office at that point. But then I came back this summer, and you were there, and I met you after I think a few. You were there, and you were just.
I didn't know that you went last year. That's pretty cool.
I went when the office was still in Greer. So we moved the office to downtown Greenville, and I came for one of my first ones here, and you ended up coming a few weeks later. Gotcha. And you were onboarding, and I was still taking my exams and everything. And then you and I would keep, we kept up every time we would see each other at a meeting. Right. And then, we both kind of became friends. But then I didn't think that it would become this, and that's just what I was thinking about.
That is a perfect example of networking, because dude, I didn't even think of that, but yeah, man, because Yeah, for sure. Like, I would have never thought from the first time I met you that we would be making a podcast together.
Right.
And,
like we're working together.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of crazy.
It is really crazy. And,
Yeah.
it's just something it speaks volumes to what that does for you. If you talk to that person across the break room, you talk to the new person, you talk to anybody around you, like, because we kind of, even though you were already onboarding and I was still getting my stuff done, we kind of walked in at the same time again.
Right.
Like, I went to one last year, but half the office was different. Like, half of the people weren't there. Really, the only people were Kelly, Mitch. I don't even remember if Jessica was there. Like, it was, I don't fully remember. I think she probably was. She might not have been at the meeting I went to.
Gotcha.
But anyway, if you just talk to that person that you don't know, you're not too comfortable with, and just be like, hey man, like, how are you doing? I'm Gavin, right?
Right.
It's huge. It's huge for it. So.
Yeah, and if you think about all the people that you have around you, other than your family, of course, like your best friends, you guys met somehow, somewhere.
Right.
Like, it's the same in business. Like, you're not going to, your circle isn't going to grow if you don't go and talk to people.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I definitely encourage, getting out your comfort zone, talking to new people, and being intentional about everything or every conversation that you have, every point in contact that you have with another person.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of people are you looking to work into your circle?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think mostly I'm trying to talk to anybody, because even if it's another lender, right? Which lenders know a lot of people, but anybody, if you make a good connection with them, because even if you talk to 20 people, right, and you say the exact same thing, people are going to mesh with you more than others. So you might talk to 20, give them the exact same thing. You could write a script out, say it word for word, tone for tone with them. 5 of them are going to take it and be like, I didn't really like that guy too much. 5 of them are going to be like, I loved that guy. Right. And 10 people are going to be indifferent. I have a feeling like that's just how it goes.
Right.
So I try to talk to as many people as possible. If I talk to a business owner, if I talk to just a guy who showed up, maybe he's like the cousin of somebody, and he showed up, went with him. Just trying to talk to every single person. I don't think there's really a better or worse, because they're still going to know people. They have a top 50. They should. They have people they know at least.
Right.
And if they go, yeah, I met this really cool guy. He was really grounded. He was he was super cool. Whatever they liked about you, if they think that's going to connect with someone they know, they'll try to connect that. They'll try to set that up together.
Right.
But yeah, who do you mainly? Do you have a type that you go for?
So, I like your answer, and so after your answer, I definitely can't say who I try to go for.
Bro, just go for it. Go for it.
But like, I mean, I try to talk to as many people. Like I said, I'm just a personable, friendly person. Like, I talk to people, and I treat everybody with respect.
As you should. Yeah. Right. Solid. Yeah.
Exactly. But Landon Hamrick, he's actually on our team
right
home in South Carolina.
Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out to Landon. He gave me some great advice, and he was telling me that getting your clients in your top 50 is very important. So the people that you have closed houses with, right? Just letting them know, like, hey, keeping up with them, following up with them, and letting them know, like, hey, one way that you can support me is by letting your friends know about me. Like, if you know anybody that's looking for a house, like, I helped you get yours. If you liked my service and you feel like I could help one of your friends or family members, just let them know about me. And I actually haven't done that yet.
Okay,
but
that's the plan.
Right, that's the plan. And so, Landon was telling me that, and he was saying that since he did that, his business he had just been getting more and more leads from his clients.
Nice.
And so that's definitely one thing that I'm going to start incorporating into my business. So, just letting my clients know, hey, tell your friends about me. Right?
If you liked it, share it with a friend.
Exactly. So, I think, your clients, especially because they had that experience with you.
Yeah, personally.
So, they can let them know exactly how you helped them through that process.
Yeah.
And so I think that was great advice from Landon. So thank you, Landon.
Yeah. Shout out to Landon.
Oh yeah.
That is awesome. How many networking events do you try to get to a month? Like, do you have a goal, or is it kind of just how many you come up that you try to get to?
I think like 3 a month
Yeah.
is solid, and not limiting yourself to those networking events, making sure that going and just networking with people in general is at the top of your mind. So 3 is good, but I don't want to limit it to networking events, and that's when I'm gonna go and
that's when you're gonna talk to people.
Right. No, making sure that I'm talking to everyone that I can, and just trying to reach everyone that I can, and then that way, whenever you do go to these networking events, it'll be more beneficial because you're already used to putting yourself out there and letting people know who you are, meeting new people, and just getting comfortable talking with people.
I agree.
So, what
That's
about
awesome.
you?
So I try to get to 2 to 3 a month, if not more. But like you were saying, just networking with people in general and not strictly doing it at an event. That's really big to me. But I don't think there's a minimum or a maximum. I think it's just what you're comfortable with and how many you can get. If you can go to 1 a month and you can pick up 5 to 10 numbers,
exactly,
just do 1.
Right. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but
for sure.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this episode for us. So thank you guys so much for being here for this episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Let's Be Real Podcast for future episodes and more content from us. We hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And as always, just remember, be real, guys. All right. We'll see you guys in the very next episode.
See ya.